leave now while he's not looking, child. Just go on and ignore him. Do whatever you have to do. Why are you so nervous anyway? Just ignore him. He doesn't seem to notice you. Unfortunately, Guillermo lifted his head and saw her by the door. Oh, hello, Rosa. Rosa took a step back, made it was best to walk away as if this were a mistake. But wouldn't that be rude? He had already seen her after all. But she had never been alone with him, it was just too awkward. Well, why not just go in and go? You are annoying me, doing that back and forth shit. Well, why not just go in? It was going to be fine. They had conversed normally before. Yet, that was because Catherine had been around to disperse her awkwardness. Now I look like an idiot. Guillermo watched her pace in front of the door in amusement. So that's what she's fucking doing. God damn it. Rosa decided to go in. She had already embarrassed herself enough anyway. There was little left to lose. Besides, there was nowhere else to go in this big house. She had already gotten lost in its hallways, much to the annoyance of the maître d'. The library was her favorite place. If she stayed quietly in one corner, Rosa was sure they wouldn't bother each other. She took a seat in the farthest corner of the table and opened her book. Oh no, he's actually standing up and walking over? No, you horrible man, just sit over there while I sit over here. But Guillermo was already beside her, peeking at what she was reading. A cold sweat spread on her scalp. Rosa, that book? Rosa began to chatter nervously. I know it's a children's book, sire. I'm teaching myself to read. I know most commoners don't really bother, but I want to learn. So please don't laugh or mock me. Guillermo pointed to the book. It is upside down. Rosa stared at it. The ducks in the picture had their feet up in the air. Rosa squirmed, feeling the heat of her cheeks. She couldn't think of anything more embarrassing. I'm sorry. Guillermo's face lost its cheer. What do you need my forgiveness for? Rosa looked up at Guillermo. Her eyes lacked the gentle glint they usually had. It was such a subtle change, something felt rather than observed. I fucked that sentence up. It was such a subtle change, something felt rather than observed. No, I said it right, it just makes no sense. To me. She thought he would reprimand her further. His face certainly looked like it. Instead, he sat down beside Rosa, drumming his fingers on his cheek while he watched her wordlessly. Well, weren't you going to read? What was wrong with him today? He didn't seem like himself. Had he eaten something bad? The aura he exuded was not his usually friendly warmth. Yet it wasn't particularly wicked. The look on his face just read slightly and internally miffed. Rosa turned the book upright and read the words out loud. Wow, what the fuck? Once you, That is the U with the short sound. It is pronounced like this. Guillermo made the sound, his face still in his lazy stare. Rosa nodded and continued. Her nerves were frazzled, but she was actually at ease in his presence. She felt like a child being taught by her parent. The parent was strict but still caring. And the child was jumpy, but eager to learn and please. Most of all, he would not hurt her for her mistakes. Rosa was almost sure. Der lived, the past tense of live. Why do we change it? It is a real grammar, Dad. Grammar? Guillermo narrowed his eyes at her. Do you even know your alphabet? Rosa shook her head. You should start there. Guillermo rose from his chair and disappeared amongst the shelves. He left behind an old thick book covered in green felt. This was what he had been writing in earlier. It looked tattered and worn. The pages laid fat on its side so that the book didn't close properly. Rosa reached out to peek at the cover when, You are not to touch that. Rosa's whole body froze to the sound of Guillermo's warning. Guillermo's stare followed her even as she whispered nervously numerous apologies under her breath. I'm sorry. Guillermo just rolled his eyes. You are always seeking forgiveness for everything. Am I? I'm sorry. His hand struck the table in front of Rosa. In the quiet library, the sound rang uncomfortably in her ear. When she looked up, Guillermo's face was looming severely above hers. He moved closer to her, his eyes fixed on her intensely. Rosa's mouth hung open. She struggled to say something, but her wits were like the bumming ends of a matchstick. Before she could compose herself, she felt Guillermo's hand lift her chin. Rosa's heart thumped loudly inside her chest. Please don't, not you too. She felt his breath on her face and her heart sank into despair. Mother's voice resounded in her head. In the end, they're all the same. He is like everyone else. She shut her eye. I forgot she only has one eye. Oops. She shut her eye and prepared herself for the worst, like she always did when. Then she felt her face being turned from side to side. She opened her eye to see Guillermo studying her face like a textbook. You are a fairly attractive girl. Why do you carry yourself as if it is a slight? He lifted the hair that hid her damaged eye. Rosa clenched her teeth. Is it because you were hurt before? He said it so matter-of-factly, like he was stating the sky was blue. Rosa recoiled from his touch. No, I did that to myself. I wasn't talking about your eye. He placed a book on the table. It was a thin pamphlet filled with letters. There were lines on the book that instructed the user to trace letters with their quill. Rosa wanted to focus on it, but she could feel the truth in the marker's words stinking her. It was the way you went limp when I touched you. Next time, I advise you to fight back. If you don't want to be touched, then you don't have to be. Do you understand this? But I am weak. Says who? His eyes were humorless. The world cares not for people who think of themselves as victims, Rosa. If you need power, then be powerful. To have it, it is necessary to crush things along the way. Rosa flinched under the weight of his stare. He realized that the polite and courteous Guillermo was but a facet. It was still him, but it was nothing but an oil portrait, an artwork of his devising. Synthetic, aloof, and irrelevant, it couldn't capture his essence in a few human strokes. Suddenly, Rosa realized he was powerful. Who are you? She caught herself before saying it aloud. You are not Guillermo. And yet, he spoke to her as if he knew what it was like to hurt and to fear. If you don't start acting like you own yourself, then people will not hesitate to take everything. He laid out the rest of the books he had brought out. One was an activity book for children. It had a picture of a child holding an apple with an arrow stuck in it. Another was a book of limericks. The other two were thicker books that intimidated her. She would come to know them as Hamlet and Paradise Lost. But the one that caught her eye was an ornately disguised book. It had a beautiful red jacket with delicate gold trimmings lining the corners. The Gods and Goddesses of Roman Mythology. This would be her favorite book, her treasure, and she knew it like love at first sight. I love those books too as well. These books are yours. Take them with you. Read the thin ones first and then gradually build your vocabulary with the thicker ones. Rosa ran her hands over the skin of the red book. She opened the cover gingerly as if carefully unwrapping a present. Thank you. No thanks needed. I simply showed you some books from a portion of the library you were unaware of. You are still so generous, even if you are like this. Like what? That. What? Somewhat irritable? Guillermo didn't reply, leaving an awkward silence and lingering between them. Then he gave a giant laugh that made Rosa jump out of her skin. I do look damn irritable, don't I? Why? Is it because of Emily? Guillermo's eyes drifted away. No. I've always been... You just pointed it out. But you're not usually like this. Especially with Catherine and the townspeople. I find it easy to adapt to people, especially to the ones I like. Guillermo looked at Rosa if he had just become aware of her presence. Makes me wonder why I'm so stern with you. I'm sorry. Rosa shook her head. I somehow prefer this side of you. Guillermo cocked his head to the side. He brought out the green book of Rosa noticed earlier. This is called a journal. When you learn to write, start one. What is it? Something you can use to remember yourself when you're forgotten. Does it work? It used to, nowadays not anymore. Oh. The act itself is the only thing I remember. Now, let's start with your vowels. With your vowels.